All right. Hey guys, how you doing? So trigger warning for those of you who we're going to be talking about kind of a uncomfortable subject today, to do with the primary thing is like the angle is like women's self-defense kind of stuff. But I met somebody who has suffered, quite a bit of trauma, and so I wanted to speak to her about her experience. When we first met, we resisted the urge to, because when I started hearing her story, I could tell. I'm just going to get my glasses. Give me 2 seconds because I can't see one. Everything's blurry to me. There we go. Now I can see what's going on. Right, so I wanted to, after she started telling me about her story, then I thought, oh, don't go any further, because I think I've got questions, and I think that maybe people might benefit from our discussion. Yeah, so, well, you can tell the story, right? We're in Logan, in Queensland, and it's not the safest suburb in the world. It's pretty big, yeah, but the crime rate up here is pretty high. There's a lot of break-ins. There's a lot of cars getting stolen. There's a lot of people getting their houses broken into, threatened, beaten up, having their car keys stolen, all sorts of stuff like that. It's almost happening on the daily now. Almost every day on the community groups. Like I advertise on the community groups and promote my business and stuff, but so I get notifications whenever people put up posts, and a lot of posts. They're either lost dogs. They're either lost dogs, cats, chickens, horses, pigs. Yeah. Or it's crime-related stuff, almost on the daily. So I wanted to kind of sit down and chat with her, and record it. And I told her my intention is to put it on YouTube, so hopefully other women or other people can learn from this. And I may even speak to one of the local coppers about what he thinks people should do or can do to try and make themselves safer. As predicted, dogs come into our house. Right, come here, come on. Oh, okay, no, you don't grump at me, you got a sore leg. Come on, up you get. Oh, we go. Okay, so now we've got a happy dog because he's on the sofa. All right, there we go. That's Buddy, if you don't know him. There he is. All right, so just tell me the story, like what happened?
Just what happened.
Yeah.
It was a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
I was taking the rubbish out to my bins that were around in the carport, out my back door, around the side. Bag in one hand, couple boxes in the other. And as I got to the carport, I saw somebody in my carport, because my car was parked out the front.
Uh-huh.
And he was wearing all black. And I shit myself, obviously. And he was in the carport facing away, and there was another one climbing down the fence. And the first thing I thought to myself, I just froze.
So the front of your property's open?
No, there's I've got a garage door, and on the other side there's a fence.
Okay.
That's permanently locked. A gate.
Right. Okay. So they were climbing. One of them had already climbed over.
Yeah, and
the other was climbing over,
down.
and you were on the inside.
I'm
of the
on
property.
the inside.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Saturday morning, 7:10. And obviously I shit myself, and
How do you know it was 7:10?
Because I just looked at the clock when I woke up in the morning.
Okay. No, I thought that was a funny thing to remember.
I just do.
Yeah.
I just remember the time.
Okay.
And I just froze, and I thought to myself, what am I going to do? I can tell these people to leave, but they're not just going to, oh, okay, and just go back over the fence. Or I can try and back away. And I thought, I'm trying to back away. As I backed away, the boxes hit the edge of the house.
Right.
And
so they hadn't seen you yet.
They hadn't seen me.
Right, okay.
And the boxes fell to the ground, and by that stage,
then they were alerted to your presence, right?
Yeah, and I was frozen. I was frozen. I was like, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
And the one that was climbing down the fence, he ran around me, and the other one when I was already in, the other one grabbed, because I didn't have a band or anything in, the other one grabbed my hair and pulled my head backwards very hard, very, very hard, and held a knife to my throat.
Right.
And told me to get the fuck inside, don't say a word, he'll fucking kill me, all the rest of it.
Did you have any idea, like, what, like, in that situation, did you have an idea as to, like, I don't want to say like nationality, I'm not trying to picture some sort of race or something, but like, did you get a feeling like of who the person was? Like, by what was any of that going through?
There was
your
no
head?
accent at
None
all.
of that?
None
No.
at all. And they had big glasses on, like big sunglasses,
Right,
and
so-
a mask, so I couldn't see their face at all.
So,
Black jumper,
so that
hoodie.
this is not an accident.
No.
Like, this is not spontaneous. This is planned, 100%.
Yeah, I
Right?
think so.
If
After
it's
thinking about it
spontaneous, that the most they'll have like their hoodie pulled over their head.
Yeah.
They might have the like people who want to do that, the little ties in here. You can tie it up around your face like that. You see people do that in protests all the time.
Yeah.
You know, but
No,
for
it was-
them
I
to have
couldn't see it
balaclavas, knowing that then their eyes are going to be possibly seen, they're going to cover their eyes where they're wearing gloves probably.
Yeah.
They were wearing gloves, yeah. So this is not their
the
first.
entire dress was just
It's
all
not
black.
their first time, right?
It was all black.
Yeah,
I don't
it
think
was
so.
all black,
I don't think
right?
so. And so like marched me to my back door by my hair and my head, and my neighbour was outside playing with her son, and I thought to myself, I need to make a noise that's not usually in my yard. So I don't know.
Scream.
For her to do what? I had a knife in my throat. That's all I wanted to do was scream.
Yes.
That's all I wanted to do, and it was, I'm thinking I don't want to die
Yeah.
and have one of my kids find me or something. Man, I thought I'll just freaking comply. There's nothing I could do, and I didn't know what to do. Nothing. Didn't know anything to do. And got to my back door, and he said it again, but pulled my head back further and held the blade harder. And I just said, well, just kill me now. I've had a shit life. Just be done. Just be done. And I thought to myself, fuck, what if he does? Well, then I am dead. And he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything at all, and threw me in my back door. Threw me in my back door. Lifted me up by my hair and threw me in my back door. And I landed on the lino on my knees, and it really hurt because I've got injuries on my knee.
Right.
But as I was going down, my kitchen chair was out.
I'll just bring this closer, just
Yeah.
because we don't have mics on.
Yeah, my kitchen chair was out, and I was able to just put my hand on the part that you sit on. I don't know why, I just did to break my fall. I don't know. My hand was there the entire time. And the one that was coming down the fence, he was over unplugging my TV and unplugging it. If you're going to steal it, just rip that shit out the wall. Don't friggin' literally just go and find a cord and unplug it. And the one that threw me in the back door, he yelled at me like, where's my fucking car keys? And
Right,
I
so
said,
the one's your car.
yeah, and I said, in my handbag, because I usually have them hanging on the hook, and the handbags usually have the kitchen chair.
But you don't have to say what sort of car you have, but it's not fancy, right?
No, it's not. It's nothing flash,
No.
And it was parked out the front, so they would have seen it.
Yeah.
And I told them they were in my handbag in the bedroom, where I don't normally keep them.
Yeah. So my first thought is that they want the car to go commit other crimes,
Yeah, possibly.
so that they can't be tracked. Because the even with the current license plate, well, they'll just change. They'll have a whole bunch of license plates, and they'll just throw fake plates on it. They'll go steal fuel. They'll go steal cigarettes. They'll go do another crime.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you might have had.
I'm thinking, just go get the keys. And
you
just
might have
take
had
the
a
car
nicer
off.
TV than they have, so they're like,
Probably.
because like that's a strange thing. Like I would think, if you're going to get a car to do another crime,
Why are you taking my TV?
Yeah, exactly right. Like,
yeah. It's one or
I
the
don't
other.
know.
I don't think I was supposed to be home because I went out the night before.
but it's a strange thing.
Yeah, I
like
went
we've
out-
been discovered,
Yeah.
right? So I would think, like let's get the hell out of here with what we wanted, which was the car, and get out of here quick. But they also know you're going to report the car as the second that they're gone.
Oh, yeah.
So the cops are going to be looking for, especially because it was a violent crime,
Yeah.
the cops are going to be onto it even more so, which means they can't use that car even for a robbery and stuff now because it's going to get spotted.
Flag straight up.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they've gone, well, the car's a waste of time now. We'll get something we can sell for a few dollars because the crime that they were going to commit in the car was going to bring them money. And if that's not going to happen now,
Yeah.
I want to get a
something else.
TV,
Yeah.
right? Or something I can sell for quick cash.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
want money.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
what it sounds like.
yeah.
Yeah.
And because I usually have my keys hanging on the hook,
Yeah.
and they just weren't. Because I went out the night before and got home at dumb hour and just
Yeah.
took everything in the bedroom, went to bed.
Yeah.
And I told him they were in my handbag beside the bed. Nothing. And then he started hitting me with something. I don't know what it was, from bottom right up to top left.
Yeah.
It didn't feel. It wasn't the width of a baseball bat or a cricket bat. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I couldn't see it, and I don't know where he had it or where he got it from.
Yeah.
I got no bloody idea.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't see. He was behind me, and 9 times he hit me. Every time he asked me where my car keys were, and on the 9th time,
How do you know it's 9?
because I counted.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
I counted.
I know.
Because
I get it.
every time hurt. It
No,
freaking hurt.
no, I get it, right? Right, I get it because
And each time was harder than
I
the
was
previous one.
I was in a pretty serious fight in my early to mid 20s. Yeah. And afterwards, I won't say what happened, but after I was counting, it was me that was hitting somebody else, right?
Okay,
not in this situation, not that situation,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it's really funny that for some reason I was counting. Because straight afterwards, someone said, "Oh, geez, you gave that guy a flogging," and I quoted the number of times that the guy presented a knife and was going to kill me with it, so I went to town on the guy. But I remember how many times I need him, and I was counting.
Weird.
It's
I don't know why I count.
No, it's
I don't know why.
It's such a strange thing. You think you got better things to do right then?
Yeah, like get them out of my house.
Well, it just seems to be.
take my shit
It just
and leave.
seems to be an odd thing. I think that, from your point of view, it might have been a way for you to kind of almost
Not quite.
compartmentalize what was happening. Yeah.
There's just so much
Oh,
stuff
wait,
going through my
yeah,
head. I'm thinking,
yeah.
these guys,
And-
I need to get them to leave. I need him to stop hurting me because it hurts. And I don't know, just take my shit and go.
Yeah, and it
Take my shit
also,
and leave me alone.
it's an uncontrolled situation. So even by counting, there's some comfort.
Some sort of regulation.
Yes,
Yeah.
regulation. Yeah, is that you're somewhat in control. You might not be in control of what's happening to you, but you can be in control of like how you're feeling about it.
Yeah.
And I think under that enormous stress, that's what you're probably doing.
And I just
Is
wanted
trying to gain some sort of control in the situation.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
subconsciously maybe.
Yeah.
And I just wanted
but
to.
physically during,
Sorry, yeah.
because like that is pretty physical already. Guys throwing
My
you on
knees
the
were
ground.
hurting, my head was hurting, my back
Yeah.
was hurting.
So you could still feel all that.
I felt it.
Yeah.
I bloody felt it.
So
all right.
even through all the adrenaline, you could still
Yeah.
feel the
Yeah, and I
injuries
still had my
happening.
hand on the chair the entire time. I
Yeah.
don't know why I left it there. Because my other hand was on the ground. My left hand was on the ground.
Yeah. But it's also common, you've heard of the fight or flight reflex, right?
Oh yeah.
And most people under that sort of duress freeze. Even trained soldiers. So I've heard, that Call of Duty, for example, was designed for like special operators and stuff to be able to practice, because you want to like decondition yourself.
Yeah.
Because there's a built-in response to us that we don't want to kill a human.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And
Desensitized.
people, and there's numerous stories in world wars about people who would rather get shot than kill someone. Like you've got your gun pointed at them and they've got their gun pointed at you, but you can't bring yourself to shoot them. And it's a real problem. There was something like there was an enormous, like, I'm guessing it's like a 60% or higher non-firing rate in like World War One.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Someone's going to watch this and re-quote me, but it's horrendous what it was. And then by World War Two, you see the footage, the guys run up with the bayonets and bayonet
Yeah.
So that's part of deconditioning, right? Is to get them to actually drive it into something.
Okay.
Yeah, something that looks like a human, and then you see the targets they shoot are human shaped, right? And then they're starting to try and decondition the soldiers
Yeah.
because they want them to do their job. They're here to protect the guy beside them, and you know, and so this conditioning phase is really quite extreme. So then you get them on video games. That's why they thought that video games would make kids more aggressive and increase the likelihood of them doing violent crime with weapons.
Yeah.
Apparently it's not true. Apparently the studies and science doesn't back it up. Also, a lot of the kids tend to be nerds. Anyway, so, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other factors that make people go and grab guns and shoot people, but apparently it's not video games. So, but that was why that was done, is to try and decondition people. Yeah. And so even, I'm not going to say operators because like they were awesome, but to even then, right, having read many books on people's real war experiences and seen a lot of documentaries and seen a lot of podcasts where guys are interviewed about, you know, killing someone for the first time and stuff like that. There's a lot of people that can't. There's a lot of people that train for years and years and years, learning how to shoot and getting super fit and doing all the study and learning other languages. And when it comes to it, they can't do it. And they realize that. Yeah. And they have to weed those people out before they get into they get into special operations.
Yeah.
And so there's this deconditioning program, and that's apparently what Call of Duty was originally for, right? Is to try and overcome that reflex, right? Because we all kind of have this self-preservation. We want to preserve life and others.
Yeah.
Inside of us, for the betterment of our species, we have to. So it's a very, buddy, I knew you were going to interrupt this. So it's very hard for people to, sorry, I just don't want to put her on camera. I promised her anonymity during this. So, but the dog has been very annoying. Come on, up, come on. Come on, dog. I know you got a sore leg. Anyway, so that's totally normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
For people, because you're not going to fight them, right? Even
no, there's two of them. What I mean, they're already in.
Yeah, and they've got weapons.
Yeah.
And they've kind of dehumanized themselves by covering their identity. So that's scary as hell, right? Yeah. If they were just in t-shirts, it wouldn't have been as bad. In another way, it's almost safer for you not knowing their identity, because they can't go, well, she knows who we are, we've got to kill it.
Yeah, true.
Right? Because if you could ID them,
right,
and they're career criminals,
I can't ID
at all. Well, that's why they do it, I guess, right? Because they don't want to get caught. And they also don't want to kill people. They just want to steal their car and commit other crimes and make whatever petty money they do, right? You know, they might steal fuel or whatever. But, so, you froze during it. Tell us about the rest of the experience, like.
On the 9th time, I just said, "You're really starting to fucking hurt me now, and you're starting to piss me off." And I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do? I'm pissed off, but what am I going to do as well? And he said it again, and I turned around and I said, "In the fucking handbag beside the fucking bed, go and get them. How many times do I need to tell you?" And he picked me up the same way he threw me down. My feet were off the ground, and can you hear me up? So God threw me toward the bedroom. I still had my hand on a chair, and I don't know how, because I was getting thrown, but I don't know, it's a bit blurry. And I was able to flick the chair behind me. I just flicked it behind me, and he was coming, gonna follow me down the hallway. So I could hear him. The other one's still trying to unplug the fucking TV. And he stumbled over the chair, and when I heard him stumble, I ran down to the bedroom, shut the door, locked the door, and leaned up against the door with a sore head. Like, my knees are sore, my back's sore, my head's sore. And then he starts banging on my door, banging on the bedroom door, and I could hear shit getting smashed all throughout my house. And I'm just like, oh, you know what? Smash my house up, I don't give a fuck. Good. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care. And I thought to myself, I'm in the room, how am I going to get out of the bedroom if I need to get out? What if he breaks the door down? How am I going to get out? I'm fucked. I'm really fucked now. How am I going to get out? And he just started saying, little pig, let me in, like banging on the door. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is this idiot doing? What he's gonna? I don't know. I
You're not dealing with
don't know.
you're
I
not
don't know
dealing.
what the hell is?
You're not dealing with a rational
Just
person.
like
No.
I don't know. I couldn't think. And the only thing I could think of was I said, "Hey Siri, ring Cobber." I don't have that function on my phone at all. I don't even know anybody by the name of Cobber. I don't have anyone nicknamed by the name of Cobber.
But you said that.
I don't know why. I can't explain it. I cannot explain why I said that. At all.
That's really
Well,
weird.
this guy's banging on my bedroom door. Little people let me in. And then he said to you're down the house, the other one, "Oi bro, she's fucking calling someone. We need to get out of here." And his voice was a little bit worried, I guess.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, "Oh fuck, that's a good thing, you know, like he's shitting himself. Like,
Yeah.
fuck you, you're in my house."
Yeah.
And then again, I can't explain. I said, "Cobber, there's some cunt in my house taking
So,
my
so
shit."
you were pretending to be on the phone.
Yeah, I pretended to be on the phone. My
Ah,
phone's in my
right.
handbag on the other side of the bedroom, and I don't even have that thing on my phone.
Right, but you were smart enough, and
Because he was.
you weren't even on the phone.
No,
but you,
I was leaning up against
you
the door.
thought if I pretend I'm on the phone,
Yeah,
they'll fuck off.
maybe they'll leave. They
Yeah,
can just-
because I'm on the phone to the cops. Now the
Cobber,
pressure's on.
yeah.
You're trying to apply the pressure on them now.
Because I'm just thinking, if he breaks down my bedroom door, I'm in here.
But that's quite
I can't
smart,
get out. I can't
especially
get out.
considering you didn't have your phone.
No,
Right.
not on my person, no.
Yeah.
And I just said, "Hey Cobber, there's some cunt in my house, stealing my shit. I'm locked in the bedroom. They beat me up." And he goes, "We gotta fucking go now. She's getting someone down here." And he was again a bit more worried. And then I said, I don't know why. I'm loading it now. If I need to shoot these two cunts, I will. And they fucked off from my house. They left.
Yeah.
They left.
But that's smart.
They smashed all my shit. The walls.
As soon
I
as
don't care
as
about
soon
that
as you
house.
knew that the guy was listening to you
He was listening.
and believing you,
Mm.
you thought, I'm
Because he
gonna
stopped banging on
I'm
the
gonna
door.
up the ante now.
Yeah, I did.
If
yeah.
if
That gave me a little
if
bit
me,
of like.
if me bullshitting to them got that reaction, if I up the ante and make them think I've got a gun,
I don't even like guns.
but just having the thought that if I up this, now I've got the momentum going against them. Maybe I can save myself. Maybe I can get myself out of this.
Yeah. But that last, when I said
That's pretty-
I said I was loading it,
It's
I'm
pretty.
gonna shoot these two bastards if I have to. I heard him up the hallway, banging everything, smashing the walls. I've got a lot of glass furniture in my lounge room, and that's all.
but-
And I'm just like,
but
you
the
know
thing
what?
is-
You're leaving. I don't care. You're fucking leaving.
You even had
Smash.
the forethought. Yeah.
It's-
No. What I don't think you've probably thought about
I
is
don't
that is that you always get told if you have a gun to keep the gun and the ammunition separate,
Yeah.
right?
I knew that.
Right.
My
So
dad-
the fact that he hears you putting it together makes it even more legitimate. Most people who knew nothing about guns, who were under that stress, would probably just go, "Yeah, I've got my gun and I'm gonna whatever." But I think that brought a lot of legitimacy to your bullshit. It made it believable.
My bullshit was
Well, if
believable.
they're criminals, they'll know
Bullshit was
about guns.
believable.
They'll know about the law. They would have heard you're supposed to keep the two separate so that, you know, like, so if someone finds one, they can't use the other, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you want them like near each other, but not like, you don't want the loaded gun. I mean, as
I know what you're
a
saying,
home
yeah.
defender, you would,
Yeah.
because you don't have time to like muck around.
No.
Yeah, you just want to cock it and go and
Yeah.
do your thing.
Yeah.
But obviously, like those in gun control would suggest otherwise, right? Because they're trying to stop people, you know, doing that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's fascinating. It's really interesting. It's one of the reasons I wanted to speak to you about this, because I was really curious, because, you know, like, I've been in a lot of violent situations, but not, you know, and even one little or two home invasion things. Me not being the home invader, of course, right? But and in one of them, like, I just had back surgery, so I couldn't walk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, that was the day that everything changed for me. Yeah, like I just had back surgery. I could barely walk. My wife was upstairs with me. The person was known to us. Giant dude, super tough, fighter guy. And the wife goes, he's coming across the road. Because she saw his car parked across the road.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she goes, he's coming across the road. So she tore downstairs because, you know, upstairs, downstairs. It's right.
Yeah.
She shoots downstairs, runs downstairs. I can't do much. It takes me 20 minutes to be able to get to the toilet on a good day.
Yeah.
Back, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm trying to get out of bed. And I'm like, you know, like you imagine if my wife's downstairs getting the hell beaten out of her, it's going to take me, I don't know how long to get there. It was horrible. So despite the pain, I grabbed my phone and hit audio because even though, well, I started filming it, so because I wanted the audio. So even if the video, I couldn't see anything, at least there was a recording. So automatically I started talking into it, going, you know, trying to tell, in case we both got murdered, that there was, you know, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, we need evidence for this. And so by the time I got, even trying to go down the stairs, I was trying to be as quiet as possible, but I was in agony, right? I wanted to scream. But I knew if he knew that I was home, I guessed that he was probably trying to get into our house to get to me. And I thought her being down there might actually make things easier. Yeah. Because maybe he won't touch a woman. Yeah. Right? So I'm like, I've got to keep my presence. I want to get downstairs and I want to record this and I don't know what I could do because I'm like, I didn't have any weapons in the house upstairs. I didn't have any weapons in the thing. And I'm like, man, like I've got to go around the corner, make myself seen to even get near the cutlery drawer where I can get a knife. Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, but that was like, I was immediate, as I was like heading downstairs, I was thinking, all right, where are the weapons, what can I get? Yeah, because I wouldn't be able to do anything with the body that I had. Yeah. And if it gets to that point, then it's going to be life-threatening for sure. Yeah. So I'd already gone, okay, this is all my filming, and if it turns bad, that's my B plan, which is to get to that drawer and get. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to pick which knife before I get there. I'm in my head. Well, I'm not going to grab the butter knife and try and kill some giant dude with it, right? So I was like going through my head trying to figure out, okay, which drawer is the knife that I want in? So because I'm going to get one chance to get at this before the guy gets to me. Yeah. Right? Because it's going to take me a while to get there. I've got like 8 feet to get to the drawer, and I'm thinking, man, the pressure's going to be on. So I've got to open the drawer, get the knife that I want, grip it the way that I want, and then deal with whatever happens. Yeah. It didn't play out that way, but yeah, it was the first time in my life, because I'd always been like this fighter guy, always big and strong and stuff like that, and I'd never thought about, you know, I grew up in a rough town and stuff like that. I worked in nightclubs doing security. And I'd never felt vulnerable in my life, really. No, I was completely, I was just, just helpless. The helplessness feeling. It's horrible. Horrible feeling. What do I do? I need to do something, but what? And there's 2 of them, one of me. So they did leave then when they thought you had to go. They bashed up the house and broke. But you didn't give a shit about that. Oh, fuck, whatever. As long as they don't get through this door. Just stop hurting me because it fucking hurts. Yeah, yeah. Take my shit and go. And I tried getting out the front door. It was locked. Right. And I know the sound. And then they went out the back door. Yeah. Closed my back door. Yeah. Well, I don't know why they would close the back door. Probably probably to shut the sound off in case you were trying to yell for help. I'm still leaning up against my door. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, but they don't know that. They don't know that. That's my gut feeling. Yeah. I didn't move from that door for a very long time. Yeah. A very long time. Yeah. And then I heard them jumping over the garage door because it makes, I've been living in that house 20 years, it makes a particular sound. And I know the sound. And then because my blind was up in my bedroom, I saw them. They weren't running, they weren't walking, they left their hoods on, they were just like strolling down past my house, strolling down the street. And that's when I started crying. Because I didn't cry the entire time.
because I'm thinking, no, don't cry, Wendy.
Yeah, well,
Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry.
Yeah.
Don't cry. And I'm just thinking, yeah, do not cry. As much as it was hurting, I didn't cry until they left.
well, yeah. It's like if you get bitten by a shark or something like
Yeah.
that, or even probably for me, if it was within 10 feet of it, I'd just freeze, right?
Yeah.
Because like it's so terrifying.
Yeah.
There's a mechanism in your body that's what shock is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I'm just
I've
thinking the whole
probably
time,
looked
I
at-
just want them to take whatever it is they want and just leave.
if it's extreme
Just stop
stress,
hurting
that's
me.
why I was
Stop
surprised
hurting me,
that
yeah.
you could actually feel the injuries. It's not like they were broken bones and things like that. Like you were suffering relatively minor injuries, and feeling the pain from it. So
Yeah.
I would have thought, in my experience, like one night I was in a big fight with a bunch of the security guards. One of the guys got stabbed,
Yeah.
and he didn't know till he sat down beside me 20 minutes after the fight.
Yeah.
We'd pushed we'd had this giant fight, it'd gone on for half an hour or more. The cops never turned up, so we'd just shove everybody out, just shut the whole nightclub down.
Yeah.
Right? So it went kind of from a giant fight scenario with 30 odd guys going for it to like get the whole crowd out of here. We shut the whole, got, I don't know, 1,500 people or more out of the nightclub,
Yeah.
big club. And, you know, the barmaids always knew after a big brawl that we'd all want to have a beer. So literally we shut all the doors and walked past the beer and the girls were already handing us beers,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I sat down on the sofa and one of the guards sat beside me and he goes, oh, like this, and jumps up and he had a little knife like this big sticking out of him. And my first thought was, how did he sit on a knife in the sofa? Like it was such, right? Because like,
when I did get up, it was more painful standing up than what it was.
once you started calming down,
Yeah.
but I would have thought the adrenaline would still be pumping by
Oh, well,
then.
yeah,
It would
I
be
sat at the
full
back
on.
of my door for a very long time,
Yeah.
crying a lot.
Yeah.
And I crawled from my bedroom
Okay,
door.
question for you.
Yes.
When did you use your phone? Because your phone was close, remember, but you were bullshitting that you had it.
My phone was on the other side of the bedroom,
Oh,
in my handbag still.
right.
After I cried for a very long time, I went and picked the phone. I went and got the phone.
Once you knew they were out of the house
Yeah.
and gone. And
Oh,
stuff.
I saw them walk past. Pardon me, I saw them walk past. I knew they were gone, but I just sat there and cried in the fetal position, to be honest.
Yeah, just have a
position.
total meltdown.
Yeah, total meltdown.
Yeah.
And then trying to stand up was very painful, very, very painful. So I just sort of like crawled across the bed, got the phone out of the bag, and
Rang the police?
Mm.
Yeah. And they got around pretty quick, I guess.
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Actually, I've never been so happy to see them before in my life.
So,
Never been, yeah.
okay, so they jumped over the thing. I know the answer to this already because this is one of the things that when I asked you a question, I was like, oh, we're going to save this for if we do like a little podcast. But you don't have security cameras, right?
I didn't then.
You didn't then.
I didn't then.
Yeah.
I didn't then.
So when, obviously, like at the time, like the police would interview you and all that sort of stuff. But after that initial thing, did anybody like make any suggestions to you? Because they might have been worried they were going to come back.
I was worried they were going to come back.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's quite common when they find a vulnerable person, they just keep attacking them, right? They'll wait 3 months, they see there's no cameras gone up, and they break in again because they're like, no one's coming to save this fucking chick. It happens to old people all the time. I hear about it. Yeah? There's somebody not far from here, and I've heard they've been broken into regularly. I think they might even be like disabled or handicapped, something like that, and they just keep targeting them over and over again, and I'm like,
but it was suggested to me by detectives to get cameras.
okay, did you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
All right, so
Straight up.
So the first suggestion that you would make for any woman, like your scenario was you were living alone, yeah?
Yeah.
Or was your partner with you?
I live alone.
Live alone, been there for like 20 odd years.
Yep.
Nothing's
ever happened. Nothing.
No.
Not in my house. It's usually everybody else's house.
It's everyone else.
Yeah.
It's
you never think it's
everyone
going to
but,
happen to you.
It's everyone but me.
Yeah.
But have you noticed in the 20 years you've been living in the neighbourhood, has everybody else got cameras? have a lot of people got cameras or not? You don't notice it? You probably don't pay attention.
No, I don't.
I pay attention to all the stuff, but like it's
Particular houses in the street do.
Yeah. When the wife and I look for a new house, the first thing we do is we go on Google Earth and we can zoom in on the street, right? And there's two things that are our red flags: burnout marks and shopping trolleys. And if you see both in the same street, that's a hard. But either of those two. So we always choose a cul-de-sac. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
The best place would be at the end of the cul-de-sac on an elevated property. Because it's always harder to fight going uphill. It's always easier to defend going down.
Yeah.
So if someone's trying to break into a house, they're going to probably need a ladder, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you want to have a fence, and you want to have like multiple layers of defense built in, right? And also,
That's what my garage door is, because it was initially a carport, but there was a garage door being put on it, and between garage door here and the fence here, and between the fence and the garage door, there's been a I don't know, sort of a wire, whatever you want to call it, not just flimsy fence wire, but a triangular piece to stop climb, and there's been tin put down the side, so there's nothing to climb up because
something I learned about our kind of break-in thing was that the police said to us that if you don't have like a fence, a continuous fence across the front of your property with a gate and all that sort of stuff, like this place here, we just have a carport, you could walk right up to our front door. It's called an implied right of way. So you think people can't come onto your property? Well, they can. It's called an implied right of way. And the cop told us this. Like, he's like, no, that guy had every right in the world to walk straight up to your front door. So when the wife was saying get off our property, well, technically he was if he has just stepped outside your front door. So like I was astounded by that. Even just that legality that your property doesn't go to the end of your property. It's called an implied right of way, and people can literally just walk straight up to your door, and there's nothing you can do about it, right? It's not like that on your property from over there.
Because I don't have a fence either.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been bullshitting to me, but so your first piece of advice to women, like if you're gonna live alone, have cameras.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
My suggestion would be, don't have them where people can just like reach up and spray paint over them. Because if you're going to break into a house, the first thing you do is disable the camera somehow. So like when you told me that you had like a big fence, I'd be like, I'd put cameras elevated behind that so that people, because if it's on the fence, then a guy just walks. Well, they just walk up with their balaclava and spray paint over it, and there's no footage then.
Yeah.
So you want people to expose themselves, and if you know, I grew up with friends who are criminals, so they've told me all this stuff, right? And they're for the most part lazy, generally smart, right? Some of the more organised ones are pretty smart. Like the guys had gloves, they've done it before, they've thought a lot about it, right? Yeah. Okay. You know, and so I would have the cameras set back and up so that you can't get to them. You can't disable the camera in any way without exposing yourself to the camera first, right? So something like that would be really useful. But cameras anyway are a good deterrent, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What else was suggested to you? Did they suggest anything else?
Counselling.
Yeah, and you went to counselling?
I did, through my workplace.
For what, sorry?
Through my workplace.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't tell us what that is.
No.
But okay, so but that was useful?
Yeah, it's ongoing.
Yeah.
It's ongoing.
Yeah, it's a traumatic thing. Eh? So like in hindsight, if you could go back before any of this, other than cameras, is there anything else you think you could do?
What to do?
Is there anything else?
Even though there was two of them.
I'm not suggesting
I know,
you have to do self-defense and all this sort of stuff, because in that situation, I think you did the right thing.
Yeah.
You were compliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I was compliant, all right.
If you fight them, things are not going to get good.
No.
They want to walk in, get what they want, and leave.
What?
everything you have, even your life is insured. Everything's insured. Let them have it, right? And I think the more irritable you make them, because they're not rational people.
No, they're not.
Right? All their spidey senses are going, what the, full of adrenaline as well, most likely. You know, they're not going to be making good decisions either.
No.
And they're going to be very emotional, fear-driven ones. So I think you did the right thing by being very compliant and just take what you want, get this.
Just leave.
It was kind of good that you like took off and barricaded yourself.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You know,
that was I just never wanted to get away. They weren't going to leave me alone, so I needed him.
Yeah. No, I think it was good.
And then just take my shit and leave.
I love your conversation with them through the door, faking your fake conversation on the phone. I think that was really super smart.
Thank you.
Yeah, and like as I said before, I think it was even more believable by you saying that you were loading the weapon.
Yeah, it just came out.
I know.
When I was getting
it's
interviewed by the detectives,
brilliant.
they said the first thing they said to me was, "There's a weapon here." I said, "Mate, I don't even have a fucking water pistol. I don't even know. I don't know."
I was trying to save my life.
What made you say it? I said, "I don't know. I thought I was going to fucking die.
Yeah.
Maybe." Idiot.
Yeah, but they also do need to know if there's weapons in the house, for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
There's not.
Yeah, because they don't know if you're some drug dealer that these guys are broken into.
Well, that's right.
Get the gun and your cash and all that. They don't. Like,
they didn't know.
They don't know. They have to make sure the whole thing's safe. They want to know that they're safe. They want to try and understand, because everybody lies to the cops. Of course they do. They'll look you up and they'll be like, oh, she maybe got 2 parking tickets 10 years ago, but yeah, I figured that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I just don't know why my car. What they're asking for my car keys. Like I said, it's not a great car.
Yeah.
And what I told the detectives the same thing. I said,
she drives a cheap little, I don't know what,
last century car.
Yeah, an old thing. It needs a little bit of paintwork. But I think that they want a car that flies under the radar a bit.
That's what detectives said.
And they're always after like a Toyota Corolla or some Hyundai Getz or whatever. Like some car, there's a million of it. You imagine getting like a grey Toyota Camry.
Yeah.
Like
because I said to the police,
that's the perfect car to drive around.
Why can't I just steal the Audi?
And no one would even remember it. They're like,
Yeah,
what sort of car were they driving? No, it's like a grey car.
A common car.
Yeah, it's so common. You see them, you wouldn't even, you might go, I don't know. Was it like a Hyundai? Was it a Toyota? I don't know. It was like it was a grey car.
Grey, yeah.
And like, you want to do that.
Yeah.
If they pulled up in a bright yellow Hummer, right?
It's pretty noticeable.
Then you'd be like, well, they're in a bright yellow Hummer. There's like 2 of them in the country. We'll find them.
Yeah. And I said to the detectives, like, my car's not great.
Yeah.
And they just said, well, from the age, from what I could gather by the tone of their voice, and I don't know, they're physical, because I was pressed hard up against him. He maybe, and the smell. He had this smell, and I saw that part of his hand, his right hand, when it was around my neck.
Yeah.
And the smell, I will never forget the smell. It was freaking horrible. It was a mixture of a few different smells of BO.
Yeah.
BO, smoked pot,
right,
and like a mechanic's yard or a car yard place.
Right, oily kind of.
Oily type thing. And he did have oil in there. That's the only part of his hand I saw. That part.
But didn't he have gloves on? Oh, you saw the...
Oh, that's the only part I saw of one hand of that person. And I'll never forget that smell.
Yeah. No, it's a crazy crazy situation. Like I obviously I'm doing this like leading up to the women's self-defense course thing, and I think that like and I'm very straight up with the women that attend. Like my job is not to turn them into Lara Croft. You're not going to be like ninjaing all the people that break into your house or want to steal your car or try and beat you up and stuff like this. It's not going to be that. And I always say, if you get home, if you make it home, then you won. Yeah. Especially like a lot of the women will have kids and families and all these sorts of things, and I'll just be like, and I said it to a father and daughter on the mat the other night. I go, your job's to get home to her.
Yeah.
And I go, your job, because because she's like, maybe 15. Yeah. So like getting into that kind of dating thing, getting away from the house a bit, and which I guess is why the dad's brought it. And I was like, your job is to make it home to your family.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go, maybe you go on a date with a guy, you know, and he turns into a bit of a weirdo, creep and stuff like this, and like something negative happens. Well, your job is to minimize whatever psychological or physical damage can be done to you, right?
Yeah.
And to make it home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not going to probably look like a Lara Croft movie.
No,
you know,
it
you know, they will just drop down. No, it's not like that.
I have a baseball bat behind my front door.
You're always going to come
I don't
home.
know how to use it.
You're always going to come home with bruises and sore, and you won't feel them for a few days sometimes. And I talk a lot about big cuts around the back of your neck, because when people grab your clothing in a fight, the elastic in your t-shirt shreds the back of your neck. Did you get that? No, you probably didn't.
They didn't grab my shirt.
Because you've got hair, they latched onto you. Yeah. Did it make you think about cutting your hair?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I had this conversation with a female student the other night, and she's like, you know, do you teach the hair pull thing and stuff like this? And I'm like, look, if someone, and you had this experience, yeah, and I don't want to grab a girl's hair and show people what it's really like, yeah, right? If someone, you know exactly the force that can be generated when someone grabs your hair, and it's not something you can really respond to.
I felt and heard my neck click.
Yeah,
a couple of times.
I know. In one of the very first UFCs, yeah, you all right? Sorry, just taking
No, it's right.
just
You're
a
right.
bit too
You're
raw,
right.
huh?
The force. And I have wanted to get my hair cut.
So
I've tried.
I've
That's
had.
okay. I have tried to get my hair cut.
I had a woman ask me about this the other night, and I said, I go, because there's like a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu self-defense hair technique thing, right?
Okay.
Okay, right? This is what it was around. And I'm like, look, having done security work for so long and seen this sort of stuff happen, yeah, I don't like gimmicks. I don't like selling false hope. I'm very realistic with the way that I approach things. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right? And I said to her, I go, your whole family trains jiu-jitsu? Husband, kids, you? She's like, yeah. And I go, and you've seen, because you've been on YouTube and seen this like hair defense technique? She's like, yeah. And I go, have you ever practiced it once with your husband? You know it exists. You guys all train. You got mats at home. Have you ever gone through it once? She's like, no. And I go, given your paranoia about having your hair grabbed in a fight as a woman, have you considered cutting your hair? She's like, no. And I said, so you're asking me to teach a technique, right?
Yeah.
You know where I'm going. You're asking me, I've got a few weeks maybe, or a couple of months to train these women in self-defense. And you're asking me to use a technique, to demonstrate one, to provide them with faith in that, when you've been aware of it for years or a year, haven't trained it, and haven't cut your hair off. If I was a woman and my paranoia was that great, and that was the main fear that I had, the main advantage physically that I thought someone would have over me is the mechanics of grabbing my hair, yeah, I cut my damn hair off.
I've tried. I went to the hairdresser
like
twice.
I'm not saying,
No,
okay,
no,
so like,
and because of
I think it's horrific. Women shouldn't have to think about this stuff.
No.
This is crap. I used to have long hair, really long hair, and when I was on the door, and it would get grabbed sometimes, and I ended up cutting my hair off, right?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
right? Because I'm like, okay, this is going to happen. It's already happening.
Yeah.
I can prevent this. Done. And I never have to think about it again, right?
And I tried to go. Well, I did go to the hairdressers twice. When I had.
But by then, do you think?
After the fact, and because of having to put the thing around your neck, it was too tight because he had his arm quite tight, and there's the scissors near my neck was
freaking you out.
Not working for me
Right.
at all. Not at all.
I can get clippers and do it in a minute if you
No,
want. I'm kidding. Right? I'm kidding.
And I used to love my hair, and now I just like chuck it in a ponytail. I don't care about it.
Yeah.
I just don't want it.
Yeah.
But I need to get past that scissors blade thing.
Yeah. Of course, you've got a trauma with that. That's 100% natural. No, I'm just curious because, like, it's tough for me as a coach to go, what am I going to show them? What am I going to teach these women? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, I got invited to do a number of seminars for some really badly beaten women. Yeah. Maybe 25 of them in the room or something like this who had been through hell. And I walked in and I'm like, I kind of psyched up for it because I kind of had you know what I'm walking into, right? 25 women in there that generally are not fan of men, and here's another one that's going to tell them what to do, right? So sometimes I don't know exactly what I'm going to say. I've got to feel the vibe in the room.
Yeah.
But the second I got in there, I was like, okay, I'm going to put them in the driver's seat. Because no one ever does. Especially a man.
Yeah.
Right? Okay? It's a female person that's organised it. There's 2 or 3 of those chicks, and then there's 25 women, right? And then there's me and my assistant, who's a guy, right? And so, because I said to him, I go, it's probably going to be very volatile feeling, right? So expect that. It's not a personal thing.
You're just straight up the enemy.
And so I said to the woman, first I told them about some stuff that happened in my childhood, because I got abused and shit like this when I was young. So I told them about some of the stuff that's happened to me, and it didn't put us on a level playing field, but you know, there was some understanding there.
Yeah.
I also just sat down on the ground with them. I didn't like stand over them and act domineering and crap. So I was aware of all of that. But then I said, look, I'm not going to stand here and tell you guys a whole lot of stuff. Yeah? I want you guys to tell me what you want to learn. So I said, I want you guys to go over there and make a list of like 10 things, going from the most common that happened to you that was the most violent to the least, if there was such a thing, right?
Yeah.
I go, we've got to end something, but we'll say like 10 things, right?
Yeah.
So they went away for 15, 20 minutes or whatever and made their list. And then they came to me and said, we have a list. Yeah.
What was
so
the first thing on the list?
Choked on the ground. Yeah. Like hand on the throat on the ground. That was the most common. There's a lot of headlocky things. There's some punching in the face stuff, but it was more about where they were, like against a wall, or most of the stuff was on the ground. You know, like I reckon probably more than 50% was DV.
Yeah.
Like it was their partner doing it.
Yeah.
Right. The other stuff, I asked the organizer of it to give me the stats at the time. Yeah. So that, because I want to work with what's really happening out there, not what some master of jiu-jitsu says in another country from 100 years ago. I'm like, I want to know what's happening to women now, what the percentages are, because I don't have 10 years to train them. I've got like 2 hours with them here, right? And so I don't want it to, it's not about me, it's about them, you know? And if I can help, like some of the stuff was situational, right? Like yours, you'd never thought about the exit from your bedroom, like what's the fastest way to the house? You'd never
Yeah.
thought about it before.
No, I
And
haven't.
so,
I haven't.
so like we go into that sort of stuff, like know your damn house,
Yeah.
you know, and in the furthest place where you're most likely to feel safe and escape to, like maybe have a second phone there, right? Because like your situation, the phone's in another room. Fuck, if I only had a phone,
Yeah.
I'd be fine, right? You could do something like that. You know, have weapons stashed in there, you know, like if you wanted to, whatever.
That
but,
was suggested,
but-
but I was like, I've got to know how to use it too.
Yeah,
Without
and
it being used
it's
on
real.
me.
Yes, it's very common that if you take a weapon into a fight and you don't know how to use it,
It's going to use
yeah.
it.
So what happened to me changed my whole attitude about handguns and stuff. I think
Yeah.
everybody who's not insane should be allowed to carry a handgun. Yeah,
But
because
you-
like I that was the first time in my life I'd felt completely vulnerable. I could barely walk.
Yeah.
Like I had to crawl on my side and like inch down the stairs. I couldn't literally stand up. He could have just flicked me and I would have fallen over. You know. That's why I was trying to figure out how I'm going to make these like 7 or 8 feet to get to the drawer.
Yeah.
Like it's going to take me forever to get there, right? So I was trying to get as organized as possible so that once I got there, I'd be like, this drawer, that knife, go, right?
Yeah, like organised panic sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
But then on the same thing, they'd tell you off if you were carrying a knife in public.
Yeah.
So like, well, they'll suggest you have weapons in the house, but you're more vulnerable when you leave the house, but you're not allowed to carry a weapon.
You're not allowed to carry them, that's right, yeah.
So like, how do you solve that problem? Yeah,
That's
right. So these are things that I mentioned to you that I wouldn't mind speaking to the police about,
Yeah,
and see what their suggestions are. And I mean, their hands are going to be tied too.
of course, yeah.
You know, like they're not going to be able to speak their mind fully as well.
No.
You know, right? Unless they do one of those 90 minutes things where, right, something like
Fuck
that.
them out.
But, you know, so, like, we chatted the other day for a while,
Yes.
you know, and it was weird, right? Okay?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
you know, is that I told you that I've got an interest in psychology and stuff. I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not claiming to be. I've got some ideas on things. I've learned some stuff. But you had like a PTSD thing to do with dark hoodies and stuff like that, right?
I did.
But I like the way you say did, and we're both talking in a
Did.
past sense,
Yes.
right? So she had this thing about dark, and look, I'm wearing a bloody dark hoodie now, right? All my hoodies are dark, right? And it's funny because like I didn't even think about it. This is what I wear all the time. So she said, I've got a like this phobia, this PTSD thing with dark hoodies and stuff like that, and even your boyfriend can't wear one and stuff like this, or couldn't, right? And so I was thinking about what that kind of looks like in our head, and so it's probably not psychologically correct, so forgive my bloody definition of it, but transference is like I had transference to do with my dad. So dad had a particular looking face and he had this like moustache, and so for 25 years of my life until I spoke to my first therapist, I had this thing about anyone that looked like that, I couldn't even go near them.
No.
I would hate them as soon as I saw them. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instant.
It's kind of like your
Yeah,
ex-girlfriend
instant.
was blonde, and then, you know, she cheated on you, and the next blonde you see, you're like, nah.
They're
I
all
bet
the
she's going to
same.
cheat
They're
on
all
me,
the
right?
same.
So that kind of
They're
thing
right.
is transference, right? And so what my idea was, and I spoke to you about like what your counselor had said about dark hoodies and all this sort of stuff. And I thought, well, my thinking was you can't have transference against yourself.
Yeah.
That was my thought process, right? Is that if you're the one in the hoodie, how can you have transference against yourself? How can you mistake yourself for yourself?
I was like, I'm not one of them.
Yes.
Straight up.
So
I'm
my
not like
thought
that.
was, because I said to you, I think it's unfair to look at all people that wear dark hoodies as a bad guy. So clearly not all bad guys wear dark hoodies, and not all good people, not all bad people are wearing a dark hoodie.
Yeah,
So like what I thought a great idea would be was for you to put a dark hoodie on, and I just gave her one of mine, right? Yeah, good promo. But I thought, and I asked her to stand in front of the mirror and put your hood on, yeah? Because there's a big, like, I don't know if the word's awakening, but there's a moment when that I could imagine you doing that and going,
I've paced so much.
yes, and
I've paced.
yes, because
I
you're
looked at it, I picked it up, I put it down.
because
I
you're
smelt it, I put it
confronted
back
with
down.
the idea
Yeah.
that you're going to have to drop this silliness because not or everyone wearing a dark hoodie is a
Yeah.
bad person.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
and there's a part of you that I'm sure thinks that if I let go of this idea, I'm forgiving what they did. Yeah? I think deep inside, that's what we think. Yeah? The same as me being cheated on by that blonde chick or whatever, right? Is that if I accept the idea of having another blonde girlfriend, then I have to forget about that. Yeah? And there's a part of you that goes, if I forget about it, if I leave it in the past, I'm giving less significance to it. But that's what moving on is, right? And it's not saying that you forgive the people, because you don't have to, right? And it's not saying that it wasn't a significant event in your life, probably the most significant event in your life, right? It's not downplaying any of that. What it is addressing, is that you're also entitled to the right of a different life moving forward. Yeah? And I know it's weird. I think it's martial arts guy. I'm not a shrink or any of this shit, but I like helping people. But I've been through hell myself, and so I think that I kind of get. I think I'm quite empathic, and I can when someone's talking to me, I'm imagining how they're feeling, and for the most part, I'm usually pretty accurate. So, but
Yes.
you know, and so like. That's why I had this crazy idea that you should put a dark hoodie on and stand in front of a mirror, because you'd be confronted with yourself. And you'd be like, oh, I'm a nice person and I'm here standing here wearing a dark hoodie.
Yeah.
And then you're confronted with the idea that you're going to have to let go of, which is like, but the great thing about that is
But you don't. You want to let go, but you don't.
Yes.
Because you don't want to.
You want to let go so that you can move forwards, but you don't want to let go because there's a part of you that thinks that you're still invested in that somehow.
And like they're getting away with it.
Yeah. But like...
For me anyway.
Yes, it feels like forgiveness, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right? And that's where you get conflicted at that moment, is you're like, I can't let this go. You know? And it happens to us many times in life, whether it's like a girlfriend cheating on you or... you know, a boss that was a prick to you, whatever it happens to be, is that it's super easy. And I explained to you the method behind the bricks that get put up by negative experiences.
Yeah.
Like putting your hand on the stove. Brick!
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
Right? You don't have to do it again. So we don't have like brick building for positive experiences. Why? Because we don't need it. It was a positive experience, right?
Yeah.
We need to remember negative things that happen to us so that we're aware of them. You know, snakes bite and kill, stoves burn you, you know, important stuff like that, right? You don't have to go and get bitten by a snake to know. That's why we're terrified of snakes, because we're like, you don't get a second chance maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like hyper aware. Anything that looks like a stick, or looks like a snake, I'm out of here, right? So, and I mean, I love snakes. I'm fascinated by them, but when I first see one, I still jump, right? Like everybody else, you know, and then I'm usually like, shh, and I lie down on the ground and crawl over to it, right? But
that's nice.
Well, no, it depends on the
That's your
snake.
thing.
Depends on the snake and how it's moving, like, you know, whether it's having a bad day or not. And so, well, you can tell an angry snake usually, right? Because they're angry, right? So most people don't pay attention. Most people go, snake, and run away.
Yeah, me,
right?
that's me.
yeah, I grew up around them, so I love snakes. Anyway, so like that's been really cool. And then hearing that, because you didn't even go out walking for a long time, right? Because you're probably feeling very vulnerable.
Oh, absolutely.
Didn't want to leave the house.
No, I didn't. I didn't want to leave the house. But then I also didn't like walking into my dining area either.
Because that's where it happened, right?
Yeah. Where I was getting whacked out of the back, so it was like felt like a catch-22. I don't want to leave because I don't know what they look like.
Yeah.
They know what I look like.
Yeah.
I could pass them in the street or at the shopping centre, whatnot. and they're going to be like, "Oh, there's that bitch with," and I don't know whether it's them or not. I don't know who it is.
Yeah, the worst
I
thing
don't know
would
who it
be if you could ID them. And
Worst
I think they knew because they took all the precautions
Yeah.
that you couldn't. And I think that's probably a big thing. You know, if you could ID them, and if they were reasonably serious criminals, which it sounds like they are, you know,
Yeah.
like they didn't hang around, they took all the precautions, they you know,
Yeah.
to you they seemed reasonably calm, they seemed to know exactly where they were going, they didn't hesitate
No, they
in
didn't.
doing things,
They didn't.
you know, and yeah, it's horrible because they're probably out there still doing it to people and stuff like that. It's horrific. So I just want, you know, I wanted women and people to hear about your experience, because I think that if we can learn anything from it, like, you know, like, I think that's important. I think
Yeah.
it's very, very rare that we ever hear a woman's voice about what happens. And I think that if more women, you know, women just hear martial arts guys spruiking on about do self-defense and see Lara Croft like videos and try and sell them
Yeah,
on bollocks
yeah.
like that. And I actually think my attitude's a little different. You know, my attitude is like, I want you paranoid. I don't think training makes you less paranoid. It makes you healthily paranoid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm probably more paranoid than most. I notice that people have got cameras up. I notice cars on the street. I mean, yeah, that was my dad's upbringing, and you know, I'm really interested in military stuff and all that kind of stuff. I'm interested in. But like, I think that if once you invest, I think there's Hoyer Gracie put it really well, and he goes, God, I better get this right, I'm going to get shot. It's like the first thing that you have to learn, I'm messing it up, I could look it up on my phone. You have to accept that you're worth defending. That's the first step in self-defense. Yeah. And self-defense, when you say, most people would think, you know, like it's a physical thing that you're doing, like I'm going to self-defense classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
But-
have been.
Yeah, but that's the way most people would think about self-defense, whereas I think, like, it starts way before then, before you even touch the person or are anywhere near them, you know. And so I think, like, just knowing, like, if you're a single woman and you've put, I said this to my mum once, right? I go, it's great that you've built a fortress around yourself, but also realize no one can get to you now.
Yeah.
Right? So if you've got a big wall at the front, it's only beneficial until someone gets on the inside of it. And now no one can see shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's
And
right.
and no one can get to you.
Yeah.
Right? So what was designed to keep people out also keeps people in. And that's why cameras are so useful, because it tells the person out there that you're going to get seen if you get over this wall. Yeah. And if you've got motion sensors and all these sorts of things, like, I'm sure you can set them so when you're inside the house that they're only working
I've got
outside.
the whole thing
and
going
then
on.
they'll set lights
Got
off.
the whole thing going on now.
But you said this was like a Saturday morning, so it
It was
wasn't
a
dark.
Saturday. It was Saturday morning, but yeah,
It wasn't dark.
It wasn't dark at all, and the whole thing was 16 minutes.
That's crazy. Saturday morning, 7 o'clock. It's interesting because I you know, the empathic part of me, the part that's curious, I'm interested in what victims go through, right? So that I can better prepare and I can speak with authority and confidence to people.
Yeah.
Right? But I also love to get inside the head of the criminal, because that also tells me how to protect the person that they're going to probably attack, right? And so, like, they don't want to get caught, they don't want to get seen. So any sort of barriers, like, for example, I'm sure there's companies here, there's companies in the States, like SF operator guys who have set up businesses after they've left the service, and they'll go around and like security check your property. Like, see that tree at the front of your house near your big $10,000 fence you just put up. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, well, they're just going to climb over the tree.
Oh yeah, true.
Right? People don't think
Yeah,
about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yes.
like you can build a giant wall, but if there's a beautiful tree right beside it, they can just climb up and
Climb
jump
a tree
over the
over,
wall.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
your fence isn't worth anything.
That's
You could have saved the money,
Well, that's it.
right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so they'll go in and then they'll go like that bush at the front of your property. I'd get rid of that because like people can get close to your house without you seeing them, you know. And they'll go through and analyze the whole house for you and tell you, you know, like you're gonna have to have a first aid kit in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Because like that's your default setting. That's
Yeah.
your like panic room.
Yeah.
And if you have to assume maybe you've been injured, but you can fix yourself in there.
Yeah.
Right? And stuff like that. A friend of mine's got a big gym in the States and he's got a lot of operators there and they have a business like that. You know, you could make a fortune in Logan.
The thing
right?
is too, I'm not
But-
normally home on a Saturday morning. It was the first
So
time.
they weren't watching
It was
you.
the first time I was home on a Saturday morning in months.
Yeah, I don't think that they were
In months. I
figuring
don't
out.
think I should. I was
Either they cased your house out. Yeah. Either they're watching your house. I don't think they maybe did. But if they did and they saw that you were always out on a Saturday morning, that would be why they chose like going in the daytime.
Yeah.
Like
In the morning.
Saturday morning's weird, right? You know, especially that time because everyone's just kind of getting up and getting moving for the day.
Yeah.
You know, like I understand people breaking into houses in the middle of the day because everyone's at work.
Yeah.
Well, they used to, right?
Yeah,
Before
yeah.
COVID,
Yeah.
hardly anyone worked at home. Now, like I reckon, like 50% of people work from home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now it's kind of ruined that whole break into things during the middle
And
of the
my
day.
car was out the front.
And if they break into a place at night, it's very loud because there's not enough noise at night to muffle breaking windows and stuff like that, right? So I'm telling all the criminals out there how to work, but they already know, right? The best time to like break into houses and do that sort of stuff is during storms because you can't hear anything.
No, you can't.
You won't hear anyone yell. You won't hear a broken window. If there's a broken window, you think it's part of the storm. If it's raining, perfect cover to go in, you know. So like you want to mask sound, right?
Yes.
And if it's raining and you hear something outside, do you want to go outside and investigate? No,
Oh.
because it's raining, right?
Oh, you suck.
Right?
You suck.
Right? So like this is the way that my brain thinks, and this is like what I'm interested in. It's like,
Gosh.
yeah, right? It's
I'm
fascinating.
walking on a brick wall.
Well, it's just like, that's a strange time for them to choose to break into your house on a Saturday morning at that time.
Absolutely.
You know, like it's very strange. Yeah. It's very, very strange. But you saying I am never home Saturday morning at that time,
No.
I think they probably were checking out your property. But then, why
Then
not?
why
They
even
would see
jump
your
in? Your freaking
car.
car was out the front. Your
Car was
out the front.
It's weird, man. It's really weird. I don't get it.
I don't know what they want.
But the other part of it is, they're not logical human beings.
No, they're not.
They're not,
They're
right? Some are really smart, but they'd wait for a storm or something, right? But, you know, who knows what they're thinking? They could be like, you know, serious drug addicts, meth, fucking whatever it is that they're into. And you said that they really stank. Like personal hygiene is not going to be high on their list.
Wasn't great.
Plus, they'd be really hyped up, I reckon, about doing something like that. Like, if you think about what it would take, like what was their life like in the last 24 hours before they did that. Like, what would encourage you
Yeah.
during daylight hours, 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning, to get dressed up like that and go do something like that? Like, what would it take? Like, it's pretty extreme.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty extreme.
I even said to them at one point, if you want to go and get your next hit, I'll just give you money and go get it off. I can drive you.
Yeah.
You know, or if you just want to take the stuff, just take your shit and leave. If that's all you want
It's
it for.
crazy.
If that's all you want it for, your next shot. Take it and go.
So, like, what advice would you, I mean, what else would you suggest to anybody? Like, because women living alone has to be a big target, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, like that's like, because they're looking for a soft target. They don't want to fight, you know? You know, they want it to be easy. easy in, easy out, get your money, steal the car, whatever it is. They don't want confrontation. And you're not dealing with rational people, so you don't really want to confront them.
No.
You know, it was great what you did through the door. I've said that a few times. It's amazing. I can't believe you came up with such a great story. But I'm interested in what people do understand. Well, that's great. I'm really interested in what people do under pressure, because that's something I talk about a lot with my students. Is, you know, like, we don't beat up our students and all that, but those that go for like certain tests, you know, after they've been in for a few years and they want to test themselves, we have a really, you know, very almost violent test for them. And I think that, like, how you think under pressure, unless you're regularly under pressure, then you'll do what you do. Yeah, you'll freeze and you'll comply.
Yeah.
But I think that saves you. Yeah.
I think so.
Because they got a knife, if you fight back, whether he means to or not, people get killed accidentally all the time, I'm sure. Just because the guys are really nervous, maybe they were jittery because they're not on their fucking head or whatever it is that they're after, right? They're not thinking straight. They're very irrational. You know, like, their brain's got to be scrambled, their adrenaline pouring. They got a knife in their hand to some chick's throat. Sorry to bring it up, but like, it would be,
I didn't bleed.
It probably wasn't super sharp, but
it felt like it was, but I didn't. I know I didn't bleed.
Yeah, but like, they were, you know, I think that you did everything pretty much right.
I just wanted them to leave.
Yeah.
What do I need to do to get them to leave? Was what was happening in my head.
Yeah. So that's where that's where I think that everyone should be entitled to have a handgun. You know, and like, even if you just had it, but there's no guarantee. That's why I think you've got to be allowed to carry it on your body, because like, I know a lot of guys in the States, you know, I mean, yeah, they're in the police force, the operators, military guys and stuff like that, but I know a lot of people who are not in that world who carry 24/7. I know some guys that have guns in their little bag beside the mat.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Not over here. Yeah, but in the States.
What you meant.
No. When they're training, like that, like, it has to be within reach all the time because of what they do for a job. Like, that's pretty full on, you know.
I wasn't even thinking of, like, reaching for anything. I just wanted them to go.
No, but
I just wanted them to go.
But that's good. I think if you'd increased your level of aggression against them, it would have got worse. I don't think it would have got better.
No.
So that's where I think that, like,
I just answered the same question 8 times. On the 9th time was when I got angry.
Got cranky.
I got cranky because it was really starting to hurt a lot. Yeah. But I refused to cry.
No, I think it's a horrific experience. I'm really, really, really super happy that weird thing I suggested with the hoodie, you know, has made a difference.
I know, it worked.
Because
it worked.
Yeah, you know, like, just accepting that, I think, and you said
uncontrollable cry.
It was amazing to hear your message about it and stuff like that, and then to see literally the next day or 2 days later you're out walking and stuff. Yeah,
because I put the hoodie as soon as I wake up I woke up the next morning. It's like it was right there.
Don't scare yourself when you wake up and think this.
I put it right there because I wanted to read the better every day as soon as I woke up, and I made sure I put it right there. And it was the first thing I said when I woke up.
It's a powerful message. I have a lot of that came from when my back injury and recovering from that, because I was suicidal for a while, and there was a definitive point where I was literally going to kill myself, and I was trying to figure out a reason to stay here. I just thought it had been 4 years of absolute misery, agony, and I was trying to find a reason, like, you know, because you just feel useless. You feel like you shouldn't be on earth. You feel like you're just a waste of time, and you've got nothing to offer the world. So why the fuck should I be here? And I was fishing for something in my head. I was lying on the kitchen floor with a big knife that I was going to do myself with. I'd rung my mum, I rang my mum and said goodbye to her and stuff. It was that close, that bad. And I was thinking about my son, I was thinking about my daughter, I was thinking about my family. I was literally going through a list of important things going, I'm like, no, I'm not important enough to stay here for him. I'm not important enough here to stay for her. Yeah. And I can't offer anything to the world at all. And then I got to jiu-jitsu. And this sounds tacky and it sounds silly, but it's the truth. Is that I felt that's something that I could be useful helping others with. It's something that I feel I'm useful doing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that was the only thing. There was nothing else. And as soon as I had hooked onto that idea, I snapped out of the whole I'm going to kill myself thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I still couldn't get off the floor. I was stuck there for like 3 or 4 hours. I couldn't move. It's like being electrocuted, and if you move, you get electrocuted again by your own spine.
Yeah, yeah.
It's horrific, right? So it was one of those, and they happen regularly. Like sometimes it'd be 100 times a day. I'd just collapse and hit the ground if I wasn't already on it. It's like you imagine someone tasering you, and you've never been tasered, but imagine being tasered 150 times a day randomly by a stranger. And that's what it felt like all the time for years. It was just crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And so once I hooked onto that idea, then that changed everything. And people say that you can't change. And I go, bullshit. I go, you can change in a fucking millisecond.
Yeah.
Everything in your life can be perfect. And there can be 1 millisecond that changes everything. It could be pulling a trigger and killing somebody. It could be deciding to look at your phone and then you run over a kid. It could be fucking anything. But your life can change in a millisecond. People say you're only three decisions away from total homelessness and poverty. Yeah?
Okay, yeah.
Right? Like just totally destroying your life. You're 3 decisions away from it. Yeah? And I 100% believe that. But it can work the other way. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right? I read a story where there was this big fat chick who just, fucking, I don't know, trying to suppress whatever. But she just didn't give a fuck. Yeah? And one day she went and got on an aircraft and she was too big to fit in one seat. And they said, madam, we can sell you the other seat.
Sell?
Well, she's got to buy it.
Yeah.
And she was so embarrassed. She got up, left the plane, started immediately dieting, working out, and set up a big worldwide fitness thing.
Yeah.
This is like 20 years ago I heard about this. There's the single moment, and I say when it comes to like weight loss or whatever it happens to be, typically it's weight loss, that people need to get to a point where the pain of their weight, the pain of doing the exercise is less than the pain of their weight.
Yeah.
Otherwise they won't change. There's no need, right? So, there's a moment there, and for me, I felt that moment. That once I made the decision that there was one thing, and there was this thing that I was already okay at, that I could be useful to the world, that was worth me staying, everything else vanished. Yeah. And there was now the door for possibility was open. I'd made my decision. I'm going to live and I'm going to teach jiu-jitsu. I'd already been teaching jiu-jitsu for a long time, but I just thought, like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. Yeah. The very, later that afternoon or the next day, I rang a good friend of mine in Melbourne and I said, look, I know I'm a mess physically and all this, and I was taking like 16 different pills a day for pain and all this stuff. I'm going to be a blithering bloody mess. I go, but can I come and train at your gym? Yeah. And he goes, you're always welcome. He goes, don't pay. I always paid when I turned up. He goes, no, stop paying, right? Because you're an ex-student of mine, so I'll always love him to death. Because for me, him opening his doors to me, was just the greatest gift on earth. Yeah. And it saved me. I could go there and I couldn't do shit. I was terrible, right? I try and help the other guys as much as I could because, and I would come home going, man, I helped some people today. Like I was kind of useful. I felt like there was purpose in the world for
Yeah, I was
me.
going to say purpose.
You know, it had nothing to do with me doing jiu-jitsu and you know, it was nice to move my body a bit and stuff like that, but it was more like I have a purpose, I'm useful.
Yeah.
And it made me delve even further into psychological stuff, and I realized like just how important for men being productive is. Like if they're not productive, if they don't have a sense of productivity, that's where all the depression.
Yeah.
And when it comes to chronic pain and you can't work, it's not the pain that's the problem. It's the like you'll go through, if you're digging ditches for a living and you got a sore back, well, at least you're getting paid $1,500 a week to dig ditches.
Yeah.
And there's a measure of your productiveness.
Yeah.
And you're digging ditches and you might be proud of the ditch that you dug.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting at home just getting paid nothing for being at home and you're just in agony all the time, it's not the pain that's the problem. It's the fact that what does your head in is I can't do anything.
can't do
I'm not
anything.
productive. I'm not useful. I have no use in the world. And that destroys men. Yeah. Especially because guys, for the most part, find their confidence in independence. They lose confidence with a loss of independence.
Yeah.
Women find strength in groups.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
find weakness in solitude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why you
Agree,
almost never
yeah.
see homeless women, because they always find a group to join.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
it's homeless groups or whether it's
Yeah.
like women will reach out and help other women and mostly homeless guys, because guys, even if they're homeless, don't want to reach out because they're fiercely independent.
That's right. Yeah.
And they are losing whatever confidence they have by reaching out and asking for help.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm thinking whole hunter-gatherer protector thing.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
like not. I'm not going to say superior, but well, yeah. Actually, yeah, I am.
a
In
group
a
of
sense.
a group of footballers, yeah,
Yeah.
is a team of individuals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? And they pride themselves on being individuals. And that's why guys tend to be so competitive with each other.
Yeah.
They just, you know, like there's just this friction between guys that we're competing against each other for women or for whatever it happens to be. There's a competitiveness there. And when I talk to men and women about when it comes to self-defense and why women don't do enough self-defense training, they have the normal attitude, it's not going to happen to me, I've been there for 20 years. They've robbed everyone in the neighbourhood except me, right? So I'm fine.
Pretty much.
I'd have alarm. We've got cameras up here. It's the first house we've put cameras up at. Yeah, second actually. But like, you know, you see it in the groups all the time. My spidey sense is going up. It happens to everyone else here. It's probably going to happen to us. Let's not make ourselves a target, and put up cameras and, you know, stuff like that, and kind of try and take precautions because they don't want to have to fight somebody who comes through my door.
Yeah.
If I can dissuade them by having a few cameras up and spend a couple of $100, then
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't want to get into that situation. But the reason I believe that men and women differ in their pursuit of martial arts and self-defense training is because men, for the most part, and this is not just my experience, but the experience of a lot of people I've spoken to, I can't go into the supermarket without some guy giving me a weird look. There's always this weird friction between guys. Yeah, almost on the daily, there's a little threat somewhere. Whether, especially around here, you go anywhere near the supermarket, there's going to be 3 homeless guys and 2 drug addicts and
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So there's this almost daily reminder. It could happen now. It could happen today. And that happens every day for guys. Whether someone honks at you in traffic, there's this little mini combative thing going on all the time. I don't think women get that. The worst they get, I think, is like, that bitch has got nice shoes or a handbag, right? That's, right?
Yeah,
All right?
yeah.
She's got lovely nails, I'm jealous, right?
Yeah.
But that day-to-day friction isn't there for women to remind them. What happens is women kind of cruise along at 0,
Yeah.
and then serious assault rape.
Mm.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's where the complacency comes in, because
Oh,
it's
it's very
nothing.
complacent.
If you were having like little micro things happening each week, yeah,
Yeah.
you would have had cameras up a long time ago.
Yeah, and been more.
Yes, you'd be
alert.
more vigilant. You'd be
Yeah,
more alert,
yeah.
right? And so guys are more alert.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So because of that constant reminder, they're like, I better learn to fight.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's why that's why it's all guys at martial arts clubs. It's not because women aren't welcome. We'd love to have the place flooded with women. Because that woman is somebody's daughter, it's someone's wife, it's someone's auntie, we don't want that. We want everyone to feel safe and stuff like that. But they just don't. Because they're like, well, am I going to spend $150 a month doing self-defense stuff? And oh God, then I probably need a uniform thing. That's another $100, and then I could put that towards something else. It's just not a priority, because like you don't get this daily or even weekly reminder. You see it on I think women can see it on the community groups almost daily, and then still go, it's not going to be me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they themselves don't have that thing happening to them. It could happen to your friend, it could happen to her friend, but still not you, right?
Yes,
Whereas
you're
guys,
right, you're right.
I'm yet to meet a guy who doesn't almost daily have another guy be mildly combative towards them. It can even just be a look, it can be an attitude. Like 3 times now at the supermarket down the road, yeah, right? They all know me now because I've grabbed shoplifters and stuff like this and helped them out because their security guards won't help them. Like I just see it happening before it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I go, and Adele's like, where are you going? And I go, and position myself, and then, oh, you.
Yeah.
And like grab the guy. He's like, what are you doing? And then his missus always like, yeah, what the fuck are you doing? Right? And then the staff are like, no, it's okay, just let them go. Because they're not allowed to get involved. Yeah?
No, they're not. No.
They're not. And I know they're not. So I'm like, security's here, it's me.
Yeah.
And I just start tearing all the stuff. This guy had like 200 and something bucks worth of meat in his bag. So I took all this meat out. I'm like, I have to pay for my meat. You're going to have to pay for it too.
Yeah.
But I don't even like the situation where the guys are so poor they have to steal food, right?
Yeah.
I hate all that stuff. But, I think it's really cool for a guy to be able to have the confidence to be able to go do stuff like that. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right? It sucks that you have to do it. It sucks that it even exists. But there's all these like little micro things that happen all the time, and like you're just reminded on the daily about it. And I think that if women did heaps of self-defense training, like as much as guys do, yeah, I think that there would be an awareness and a wariness, because they're all like 3 times a week they'd be at the gym fighting, and they'd have this like spidey sense, yeah. Like the whole fight or flight thing, like you're probably still going to freeze and stuff like that. You'll think better under pressure because you're always under pressure. You're used to that, and I think you'll make better decisions. But I think in terms of if you have regular physical fighting conflict stuff going on, I think it translates into the other areas of your life, that paranoia and wariness. I think that complacency goes because you realize, well, 3 times a week you get reminded that you could get attacked. Because you're paying to voluntarily get attacked, right?
Yes, true.
So
true. Yeah.
whether it's subconscious or conscious, 3 times a week you're still like involved in conflict and fighting, you know? And like, I just think that it makes you more aware. You know, like when you're walking down the street, like your head will be up, you'll be more confident, you won't have your bloody headphones on, and looking around and stuff like this. Like pay attention to where you're going, look at your surroundings. You know, there's a business in the States run by Tim Kennedy called Sheepdog Response, because he goes, well, there's the sheep and the wolf and the sheepdog. Yeah.
The sheep, the wolf, and the sheep. Okay. Yeah.
Right. The sheep can't protect themselves.
No.
The sheepdog can sometimes look like the wolf, but it's not a wolf. It's there to protect the sheep.
Yes.
But sometimes, like the sheepdog has to kind of look like the wolf to be able to compete and fight the wolf. it'll kind of look like it.
Yeah.
Think about special forces operators. Usually got tats, big tough kind of looking guys covered in tattoos and they're muscular and like fighting and shit. What are the criminals that they kick in the arse of look like? Tough guys, tattoos, like fighting.
Yeah.
Right? So the sheepdog and the wolf can sometimes look very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Makes sense.
For the sheep, sometimes they can't tell who's who.
Can't tell.
Yeah?
Mm.
And I just think that, anyway, so he's got this whole thing, sheepdog response, and part of that is taking groups of people out, you know, and it's people, it's not just women, it's a lot of women do it, but he'll take them out and he'll go for a walk around the supermarket car park. And he goes, all right, there's an active shooter situation inside, you've heard gunshots, you've heard screaming, which car can you see that might have a weapon? Because it's the States, so there's a greater likelihood, over here no one probably. Well, I'd just go for all the poorest cars because they're probably going to be crims, right? But because it's not going to be all the fancy cars,
No.
right? And so he just goes, open your eyes and pay attention. Look around. Yeah? It's not going to be the Toyota Camry, right? Okay. What's the most likely car that someone that owns a gun is going to be driving? And what are the signs that it might be here? Right? So you start looking around and you start seeing four-wheel drives because hunters like four-wheel drives. And then you, right? So so all of a sudden you narrow down to the four-wheel drives. Then you start seeing ones that have like Winchester stickers on them. Winchester makes guns. The guy's bought a gun, he's been given a sticker, he's put it on his car to show him a hunter.
He has.
Or to be you know, like you'd be able to spot it. You don't even have to move.
Mm.
You can just look around, yeah, and go, that's the most likely vehicle to have a gun. That's my first port of call.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And if you can't find the gun, well, maybe you find the owner of the car and he'll unlock it and find the gun for you.
Yeah.
Or he'll have one on it.
Yeah.
Right? So this sort of stuff is really important. And you know, it's difficult to really teach unless you're going to do quite an extensive course, have someone who's a specialist in this. I'm not, but I'm like a little more aware than most. I wish I was in the States. I wish that I could be a part of Sheepdog Response. I love what Tim Kennedy's doing. I like the whole idea of that sort of stuff. I'd love to be able to put together a bunch of people up here who can do something like that.
Yeah.
The biggest problem is who can afford it.
Yeah.
And it's not most of the people getting their houses broken into.
Mm.
Yeah. Because it's not cheap to get a, you know.
Yeah.
But I'll look into it. This has got me really curious now, talking to you about you and your experience, speaking to other people about theirs, seeing it on the community groups constantly has made me really deeply curious about this because I live in the neighborhood. I live in this place. I might not be able to do that much about it. I'll try and do my part, but I do know people who are connected who can do stuff like this, you know, and I'm pretty good friends with them and can reach out to them. So,
I was thinking too, like I said to the detectives, a car drove by the opposite direction to what these people were walking with my shit.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, I don't even know why wouldn't that car stop? Or
hell no.
Or, you know, or even like, why wouldn't someone in that car phone you guys and say, well, we just seen two.
Well, that's...
And he said to me, what would you do if you saw those people?
Masked people.
And I said, I'll just go and watch just another day in Logan.
Yeah.
He said, well, there's the problem right there.
Yeah.
He said, now what are you going to do from now on? I said, well, I'm going to call you people. And that stuck with me. Yeah. Because I wouldn't have thought twice.
Yeah.
Before that.
Reach out for help.
Wouldn't have thought twice.
Anyway, I think we'll leave it there. It's been pretty intense. It's almost a pity that I gave you all that psychobabble stuff the other day because I think you would have been a lot more. It would have been more intense for you today to talk about this, but I love the fact that and this is why I was really interested in becoming a psychologist, but I can't sit down long enough to do that shit. Maybe I will one day, I don't know, but it just makes me feel incredible in the same way that I help people overcome trauma by doing jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. I see massive changes, guys and girls. You know, you'd be surprised with the number of guys who get bullied at school, who are really passive in their work, who get basically bullied at their workplace, who don't have very good self-esteem and stuff like that. You know, they never ask for a pay rise. They're stuck in a shitty job that they hate, but they've got a good brain and they know that they could do better, but they don't have the confidence to be able to ask for a pay rise, ask for the job position that's above theirs, deserve better. They start doing jiu-jitsu, their self-esteem lifts. Then they get a new girlfriend because they get rid of the old one, right? Or they're single, they start getting more muscular, they get more confident. Then they get a girlfriend. The girlfriend starts going, "Why you work at that shithole? You know, you're a really smart guy." "Oh, really? You think so?" And then things just escalate from there. Like it's really incredible, and this is why I do it. A lot of academies probably wouldn't put much thought or the thought into their students that I do, but I guess I see a little of myself in all of them, and I can't help but kind of, not everybody like needs my help, right? But quite a few students have reached out, mostly because I think I'm very open with my own experiences.
Yes.
And so when I'm open with my experiences, it makes me seem approachable. And so when someone else has a problem,
make me feel very comfortable.
the door's already open. I've already opened the door and said, like, I'm vulnerable and stuff. And then they'll reach out and go, "Oh, you know,
normal after all.
Hey, can we have a chat? Like, I've got this thing going on. I kind of want your ideas on it." And I have thought about like doing something with it, like, I don't know, becoming like a counselor thing. And you know, I've got trademarked an idea name for it called Black Belt Therapy.
That's a good one.
I know.
That is a good one.
I know. That's why I got
That's
it,
a good
right? That's
one.
why I grabbed it. I'd had a few beers one night and I was talking to the wife and I came up with the name. She goes, "That's great. Let's grab it right now." So bought the domain name and stuff. So that's something I've thought about doing, but I don't know. I guess I kind of, I don't know. I think about it. I think it's such a serious thing as to reach in and be responsible for people's thoughts and feelings and emotions and stuff like that. I don't take it lightly at all. And so I just kind of, I don't know, I kind of poo-hoo it off, like, I'm not, it's just, I don't know, it's you know, and it's not false humility. Like, I think I can help people, but I just kind of, I don't know, I listen to really smart people, like, I listen to guys like Jordan Peterson and stuff like this, and like really, really super smart people. And I'm like, man, I'm such a dummy. I can't help anybody, right? But like doing this little video thing, like that's kind of my version of kind of.
Yeah, I get.
And I wanted you to share your experience so that hopefully people do get paranoid.
Oh, I'm paranoid now.
Yes.
I should have been paranoid before.
But you've probably been more safe now. You've got yourself cameras for one, right? You're going to come and do some jiu-jitsu, which is great. You know, you're out walking, which is going to get you fitter and healthier and help alleviate a lot of the depression and just moving forwards. I can tell by your face, your eyes are open, your body posture's better. A lot's happened for you in a short period of time.
It has.
And I just think it's amazing. Like, it makes me feel incredible to think that I was a part of that transition. But like, this is what I love doing, and this is why I do what I do, and the way that I do it, like this, you know, like, I mean, I just love helping
because your
people.
suggestion of the wearing the hoodie myself
Yes.
didn't even come from a paid professional.
Yeah, it was a weird thought.
It was the whatever you want to call it, strategy was to be near someone that was wearing one and have someone that was wearing one behind me, because behind me thing, not.
So like the other way of approaching things like that would be environmental conditioning. So you have a fear of spiders, so you start off with a picture of a spider on the other side of the room, or something. You might even, if it's really bad, you could start with like something that they're not scared of, like a lobster. And they're like, "You're scared of lobsters?" Nah. I'm like, "Well, I don't know, they kind of look like spiders." "Nah, they don't." And then you could like, then you work towards something that kind of looks like a spider. Well, what about a scorpion? "No, I don't care about scorpions. They're not spiders." "Well, what if I got this scorpion and then I cut the tail off it? What does it look like now?" "Nah, not really a spider." But you could still kind of, so the whole time you're working slowly towards the image of a spider. And then when you start getting, like, maybe you draw hairs on it. What if it was hairy? Would that might start, I reckon if it's hairy, it'll start looking like a spider. So you find some crustacean that has hair. So you get something that's hairy, but it's not a spider, and you can kind of gradually like baby step them towards it. And then once you get into spiders, you start with like maybe a drawing of a spider on a piece of paper on the other side of the room. Yeah. And then you can slowly bring the piece of paper closer. And if they start freaking out, you can move it away.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And then you go, okay, well, what if we used a bigger picture? And what if we got it? And then there's like a billion steps you could take to slowly condition somebody to the idea of getting used to a spider. Yeah. So like that's kind of what that thinking is. Yeah. Is if you see it enough, you'll be desensitized to it.
Yeah.
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 The feeling that I had in me was I wanted to remove it from the idea of the hoodie. Yeah. Because you're seeing the hoodie, you're not seeing the person. So my idea is to make you see the person and to make you the person.
Yeah, that was confronting.
That was the point. But it wasn't about the hoodie. It was about the face inside the hoodie. And it was your face. And you can't be scared of you. You know you.
Yeah.
Right? And so like that's what's confronting is that, oh shit.
Yeah. It was
I've been blaming everybody's face that wears a dark hoodie on those guys. And they don't deserve that kind of rep. Yeah, yeah. Right?
That's exactly right. That is exactly right.
That's exactly what I thought would happen.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm looking and crying and crying and crying and crying.
No, that was amazing. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I'm hoping the audio's been good enough. Or else I can't use any of this, and I won't care because it's been amazing. It's been amazing talking to you. It's amazing knowing you and meeting you now, and I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night. You're coming to the Women's Self-Defense?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
So tomorrow the self-defense starts, right? Sorry?
5:15.
5:15. Yep. So yeah, that's going to be really cool. Yeah, I'm really kind of, I don't know. I'm always 50-50. I'm like, I can't get too excited about it because sometimes like they're not well represented, but I get very excited at the prospect of helping people and especially people that really need it. I've had a huge response. I've had 30-something people kind of sign up for it. But because it's free, they're not invested financially. Yeah, so they might not turn up. I've had that happen with the kids one. We had dozens and dozens of kids sign up because the community centre did it for free. Yeah. They wanted me to do it for free.
Oh, okay.
They paid me.
Yeah.
So I turned up. But none of the kids' parents had paid anything. So like 3 kids turned up in 8 weeks.
Oh, okay. So they're not
but all 3 kids joined up with the gym afterwards, which was great. But I'm like, well, that's not the point. I wanted to help like 150 kids in those 8 weeks, right? I mean, it's great that we got 3 join the club, awesome, but could have done that with like 1 free session. Didn't need to do it with 8 weeks, you know? So I'm really hoping that the women support it. And I hope the fact that it's free doesn't actually push them away.
Yeah, I understand.
Because they're not. If you paid $200 for it, you'd turn up every day.
Oh, damn straight.
Of course you would, right?
Yeah.
You know.
But
given the neighbourhood we're in, like, I'll see what happens. But hopefully it's really well supported. Yeah. Anyway, if you've listened to all of this for like the last 2 hours, you've done incredibly well. And it's probably too long, and the audio probably didn't work, so we probably can't even use it. But either way, it's been amazing talking to her. I've got to not use her name. But hopefully that opens your eyes a little bit to, you know, home safety and stuff like that. Take it seriously. It's not a massive investment. And if you're going to start anywhere, start with some cameras around your house. Speak to a security expert about how best to protect your house. And of course, I'm going to tell you, go learn jiu-jitsu, and proper self-defense jiu-jitsu. That's all. See you guys. Bye.